Hello and welcome to another episode of Damn Interesting Week. We are so glad you've decided to join us. My name is Jennifer Lee Noonan.
I'm Angela Epley.
I'm Spurr-Chen.
I'm Bradley Calhoun.
And this was a damn interesting week. So let's get started with our first link.
First link.
Okay, from the Smithsonian Magazine, 2 armed thieves stole over a dozen artworks, including 8 by French artist Henri Matisse, from the Mario de Andrade Library in Sao Paulo, Brazil, during viewing hours.
Whoa.
Yeah. 5 works by Candido Portinari, a renowned neo-realist Brazilian painter, were also included in the theft. Apparently, the robbers threatened a security guard and an elderly couple with guns.
Oh.
Then they took the Matisse works off the wall, placed them into a canvas bag, and then they grabbed the 5 Portinari works before escaping on foot. Now, security footage showed one of the suspects buckling under the weight of the framed prints as they walked down Sao Paulo's sidewalks undetected. Footage shows a suspect leaving the works near a pile of trash and walking away. Now, the stolen works are part of Do Livro ao Museu, which is an exhibition held at the library in partnership with an actual museum. So, museum heist tangentially. The exhibition showcased a rare selection of art books, prints, and drawings that reveal the shared modernist past of the 2 institutions. It included prints from a limited edition copy of Matisse's Jazz, which was a 1947 book featuring colorful cut paper collages and written thoughts. Now, they haven't gotten off scot-free here. Police have arrested a 31-year-old man with drug trafficking convictions, but they are still looking for his accomplice. Now, apparently, thieves often target museums because they have minimal security due to a lack of funding.
Hey, everybody. Just so you know.
In case you were thinking of heisting.
Of course, this heist comes almost 2 months after thieves disguised as construction workers stole literal crown jewels from the Louvre during operating hours. That robbery, which took about 7 minutes, shocked the art world and raised concerns about the security of valuable cultural objects.
Were the jewels ever recovered? They just kind of petered out in all of the other horrible news.
Well, I know that one of them, they ditched one of the crowns or something because it didn't fit, it was broken, or it just kind of got lost in the heist, but I don't know.
By it didn't fit, I'm imagining the robbers just trying the crown on and being
right.
nah, that doesn't fit. And then they just discard it.
Listen, Amazon's got a really good return policy. You can just send it back and get another size.
I'm sure their security is a lot tighter than a museum, though.
Probably.
Next link?
Next link.
This article comes to us from The Guardian. It's titled, Orcas Team Up with Dolphins to Hunt Salmon, Study Finds.
Oh.
Little Sea Worlds, not to be confused with SeaWorld's collaboration.
Right. It's a Romeo and Juliet of the ocean.
Yes. So, extensive documentation, including drone video, acoustic recordings, and underwater footage, led scientists working with the University of British Columbia, the Leibniz Institute, and the Hakai Institute to conclude the 2 species are working as a team. Sarah Fortune, a marine scientist at Dalhousie University and the report's lead author, said, "These whales are top salmon hunting specialists. To see them following dolphins as though they were leaders was really counterintuitive and really exciting. Dolphins lack the ability to hunt salmon, which are too big for them, normally relying on herring. Video footage in the research shows the dolphins, which Fortune said act as scouts. The orcas follow closely behind. When the whales catch their prey and break them apart at the surface to share with other orcas, the dolphins scavenge the leftovers. The whales, which are typically fiercely protective of freshly hunted prey, seemed unbothered by the intrusion. So, researchers examined multiple explanations for the proximity of the dolphins and the lack of aggression by the orcas. One theory suggested the dolphins were simply obtaining protection. Northern resident orcas do not prey on the dolphins, but Biggs orcas, which share the same waters, do. Another theory was the dolphins obtained benefits by bow riding near the orcas, reducing drag. The team also weighed the possibility of kleptoparasitism. Fortune said, if the dolphins were parasites just there for a free lunch, the whales might act aggressively toward them to get them to leave, or the killer whales themselves might leave, but we didn't really see evidence of antagonistic behaviors between species, and that really surprised us. That left the researchers with the last, most tantalizing explanation, which is the two predators were actually cooperating. To better study the hunt, 3 members of the team crammed into a small boat and tagged the whales with a large carbon fiber pole, attaching a camera with a suction cup that would eventually fall off. The tags, which recorded video and acoustics, continuously recorded dive data along with vocalizations and feeding-related sounds. Fortune said we'd see this alternating pattern where our tagged whale would echolocate, and then we'd hear dolphin echolocation clicks. And so those dolphins had to be close enough to the hydrophone that we could pick it up. Are both species listening to each other? Are they eavesdropping? The simultaneous echolocation also raised the prospect they could increase the acoustic field of view, giving the whales a wide range to track fish in.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, like, what could the dolphins possibly offer that, surely the whales are good at hunting too, but it makes sense that if they're covering a bigger range, and then the dolphins are basically calling them over going, hey, I found something you can hunt, and then I'll get your scraps.
Like having pointer dogs.
Yeah. And they have the little nose too, just like the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably so much crazy sort of cross-species collaboration that happens in the ocean all the time that we just can't see.
Well, as long as the dolphins don't start attacking the yachts, because
Yes.
the orcas got that under control, and if the dolphins start pointing them toward us, it's going to be even worse.
Well, if the salmon were too big for dolphins, then maybe the yachts are as well, so they'll have to go for dinghies.
Right. Well, they'll get the scraps when the orcas knock us all into the ocean.
Like, Flipper, no!
Next link.
Next link.
Okay, this also comes from the Smithsonian. These monkeys learned to tap to the beat of the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, no.
They could have chosen any music, but they chose the Backstreet Boys.
So, with a bit of training, monkeys can learn to tap along to the beat of music. The findings published November 27th in the journal Science suggested that the ability to perceive rhythm may be more common in the animal kingdom than previously thought. Quote, the fact that this skill can be acquired through training has implications for our understanding of the evolutionary origins of human musicality, at least according to the study's co-author, Vani Rajendran, a neuroscientist at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. So scientists had previously thought that only species capable of complex vocal learning, such as humans and songbirds, could synchronize their movements to the beat. But Rajendran and her colleagues wanted to explore this hypothesis with macaque monkeys, and they had the perfect subjects for the job. Because for this study, the scientists worked with 2 captive adult male macaques that had previously been trained to synchronize their tapping with a metronome. The researchers wanted to know whether these monkeys could expand their repertoire and learn to tap along to more complex and often subjective musical beats. Using juice as a reward, the researchers trained the macaques to move one of their hands in time with various acoustically complex sound sequences. Some of the tunes the macaques listened to include Everybody. Sorry.
Did they put them in little like Halloween costumes? Because I think the video had that. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and A New England by Billy Bragg, which I don't know.
Oh, we can't get a rendition of that. That's all right, because we can't afford to license it, so it's fine.
But just the one phrase.
Right.
For comparison, the scientists ran the same test with 18 human participants.
Oh, God.
And all of them had that song in their head all week.
See, what I'm wondering is, did they teach them to clap on the 1 and the 3 or the 2 and the 4? I don't know that the researchers got it right, so how could the monkeys get it right?
So both humans and the monkeys successfully tapped along to the beat of the music, but while humans were able to do so without instructions, the monkeys required, quote, extensive training and still found the task to be effortful. So under their 4 components hypothesis, any animal that can detect sound patterns, predict the next beat, act on what they've heard, and coordinate all of these processes through reward-based reinforcement training might be capable of rhythmic musical perception.
I bet birds can do it. Because we've done stuff before where birds are capable of learning patterns, not necessarily repeating it, but recognizing this is what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And birds sing. It feels
Well,
to me.
they included that. They think, or they know that birds do that. They were thinking outside of us and songbirds. But again, maybe dolphins.
Right.
we just haven't seen them yet.
They love the Backstreet Boys. They're big fans.
Right.
They're more NSYNC fellows themselves.
Next link.
Next link.
All right, next up, we've got a YouTube video from the always delightful Kurzgesagt called Tattoo Removal is Insane. And I know some of us have tattoos, but I don't think any of us have ever had one removed. Is that right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and a friend of mine has, because he was in gangs, so he had to get all of his gang tattoos removed off his hand. Yeah.
Well,
it hurts.
I apologize for any flashbacks he's about to get here, because it is quite intense to remove something that is very much intended to be permanent. According to the video, about 1 in 4 people with a tattoo regret it, which in America means about 25 million people. And those demographics are not surprisingly skewed younger, as tattoos have become more socially acceptable over time. But even within that, there does seem to be a higher rate of regret among millennials, whose tattoos are more likely to have been comedic at the time. And we all know how well comedy ages. But in order to understand how tattoo removal works, we have to understand how a tattoo works in the first place. Because obviously you have a needle injecting ink below the surface of your skin. But as with any foreign object in your body, your immune system is pretty much constantly trying to get rid of it. And if the ink particles are small enough, it can in fact do that. It's only when the ink globules are too large for the immune cells to move that they go with option 2, which is immobilization. That's when individual skin cells, which are much bigger than immune cells, will absorb as much ink as they can and keep it wrapped up tightly so it can't wander around your body doing damage. So if you want to get rid of a tattoo, you have to first destroy the skin cell that is holding onto the ink, and then you also have to break up those ink particles into small enough pieces that the immune cells can start to carry them away. The problem is that destroying your skin cells is destroying your skin cells, right? Like you could also remove the tattoo by cutting off your arm, but ideally we want to injure ourselves as little as possible here. So this is where lasers come in. And the reason lasers are helpful in this scenario is they're energy moving at an adjustable frequency. And of course, if you change that frequency enough in one direction or the other, you can turn it into UV light or Wi-Fi or even X-rays. It's all just energy. But the reason that these different types of energy do such different things is because different materials absorb, reflect, or just pass that energy through depending on the frequency. So the key with using lasers to remove a tattoo is to select the exact frequency that will pass through the outer layer of your skin without causing any damage, but still get absorbed by the tattoo ink itself. And because of this, the technician will actually have to adjust the frequency depending on the color of your tattoo. Red ink, for example, is red to our eyes because it reflects red light. So in order to get it to absorb that energy like you want, you're going to have to use a green laser. Black ink, on the other hand, absorbs all light frequencies, so it's actually the easiest to remove. Like a big, thick black tattoo, super disintegratable. A light-colored one, much harder.
Interesting.
Now, once the ink particles have begun to absorb that energy, that's when the real fun starts. Because the ink starts to heat up and expand so quickly that it not only explodes your skin cell from the inside out, it destroys everything in the nearby vicinity. These individual explosions are each between 200 to 600 degrees Celsius.
Whoa.
And it basically amounts to giving yourself a vicious third-degree burn on the inside of your body. Yeah. Now, all of this is happening on a microscopic level, but on the macro level, you, as a person receiving this treatment, will notice a few things. First, it's going to hurt a lot. Second, you're going to smell burning flesh. Third, you're going to see the skin that the laser has passed over turn white in a process known as frosting. And that's the result of water in your body being instantly vaporized and rising to the surface as a bubble of steam.
Okay.
So if you've ever burned yourself with steam, just imagine injecting that beneath your skin. And finally, you're going to hear a rapid clicking sound, which a lot of people think is the sound of the laser machinery, but is actually the sound of your skin cells popping like balloons.
Wow.
Because I've heard that sound. I thought it was the laser.
No, it's not. So following all this, you then have to stop and take some time to heal. And the time for that is going to vary from person to person, but it's equivalent to recovering from an extremely bad burn, so it's going to take a few weeks at a minimum. During that time, your immune cells will flood the area, grab all the bits of ink that are now small enough to grab, and filter them through your lymphatic system. Ideally, you will then pee it out. However, it's also possible that the particles will get trapped in your lymph nodes, which you absolutely cannot attack with a laser. And this is the point at which you're going to want to really hope that your tattoo artist didn't use toxic ink. Because if they did, it was previously trapped safely in your arm. And now you've just put it into a very important organ. So this is why people with tattoos of perhaps questionable origin are advised not to do laser removal, because it might actually make them very sick.
Wow.
Which is also kind of crazy if you have a tattoo and you look down at it, you're like, oh, that's poison. But it's there, so it's fine. But assuming things go to plan, your immune system will clear things out, the burn site will heal, and within a few weeks, your tattoo will be a little bit lighter than before. Because the laser doesn't really break down all of the ink. It just sort of chips away at the sides, and your skin cells have now done what they did when the ink first arrived, which is absorb the larger chunks and prevent them from going anywhere. So you've got to do it again, and again, and again. A typical tattoo removal requires between 5 and 12 sessions to completely obliterate it.
Wow.
And because of the repeated burns, you often end up with scarring in the exact shape of the tattoo you were trying to get rid of.
So you get a brand in return.
Exactly. So because of all this, as well as the relatively high cost of laser removal, most people who want to get rid of a tattoo will just put a new tattoo on top of it. And that does seem to be, in my opinion, the way to go. I've done, just find a bigger picture.
Just burying over it, kind of like how we handle landfill trash.
Exactly. Your arm is a landfill.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Pete Davidson.
Oh, the
Yeah.
comedian? Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's having all of his tattoos removed. And he's like, well, the worst part is that the doctor has to ask you right when they're about to remove. They have to tell you what they're removing. So they remind you of your embarrassment. Would you like to me? Is this Stewie smoking a joint staying or
Right,
leaving? He's
right.
like, no, that one's going to go, doctor.
That one's
gonna go."
going. All right. But the Pickle Rick, that's got a little more lasting power, I think.
Sentimental value.
Oh. Next link.
Next link. Okay, from Vice magazine. 3i Atlas is releasing key ingredients for life as it approaches Earth. Y'all know about 3i Atlas, right? Our mysterious interstellar object. Some think is just a comet, some think maybe an alien artifact, but they can all agree that it's still being really weird for whatever it is. And the latest, newest bizarre finding is pretty remarkable. The comet may be filled with large amounts of gaseous menthol and hydrogen cyanide. Both are considered crucial ingredients in the recipe for life. For context, in typical comets, these molecules only appear as faint traces, but 3i Atlas is kind of loaded with them. So methanol alone makes up a wild 8% of all vapor coming off the comet, which is about 4 times as much as anything we've measured from local comets. Even weirder is that methanol is showing up in the comet's rocky core and in its coma, which is the cloud surrounding the nucleus. Now, methanol is almost always around when there is some complex organic chemistry going on, mainly when it deals with the formation of life. So this is all kind of pairing neatly with an old idea that comets may have been the perfect accidental delivery method for seeding life, and it may have been how life was seeded here on Earth. Either way, scientists plan to continue observing 3i Atlas as it loops around the sun, heads back into space, and by the time that you hear this, I think the closest it's going to be to Earth is around December 19th, so stay tuned!
Okay,
Life.
fingers crossed.
I mean, we're on the bad timeline. Like, is this where we kind of call in the Hail Mary and, like, can only go up from here, right?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to watch culturally going back and forth whether space life is going to attack us and take us over or actually help us, like rescue us from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, sure, I'll choose rescue us from ourselves.
Yeah! Happier ending.
That's right.
Next link?
Next link.
We're going to stay in space. This article is from sci.news titled New Research Challenges Classification of Uranus and Neptune as Ice Giants.
Oh, as in they're now ice giants or they're not anymore?
They may not, in fact, be ice giants.
Ooh. They've been lying about their height.
Yeah. So Luca Morf, a PhD student at the University of Zurich, said, "The ice giant classification is oversimplified as Uranus and Neptune are still poorly understood. Models based on physics were too assumption-heavy, while empirical models are too simplistic. We combined both approaches to get interior models that are both agnostic or unbiased and yet are physically consistent." So, in their study, the researchers started with a random density profile for the planetary interior. Then they calculated the planetary gravitational field that is consistent with observational data and inferred a possible composition. Finally, they repeated the process to obtain the best possible match between the models and the observational data. So with their new agnostic yet fully physical model, the scientists found the potential internal composition of the ice giants of our solar system is not limited at all to only ice. The new range of internal composition shows that both planets can either be water-rich or rock-rich. This study also brings new perspectives on Uranus and Neptune's puzzling magnetic fields. While the Earth has clear north and south magnetic poles, the magnetic fields of Uranus and Neptune are more complex, having more than 2 poles. Professor Ravit Helid said, "Our models have so-called ionic water layers, which generate magnetic dynamos in locations that explain the observed non-dipolar magnetic fields. We also found that Uranus's magnetic field originates deeper than Neptune's. Both Uranus and Neptune could be rock giants or ice giants depending on the model assumptions. Current data are insufficient to distinguish the two, and we therefore need dedicated missions to Uranus and Neptune that can reveal their true nature." Which is pretty wild. I mean, I don't think we can even get out that far right now, right? Or
certainly we can't send people out there, no.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but we've done some drone flybys, right?
Yeah, we have some probes out there.
Yeah.
But they're sending back information, not stuff yet.
Right. And I don't think they can go in to even get samples because it's crushing out there, isn't it? I don't know my planets well enough.
Yeah, I mean, what I know is I've been reliably informed that they're not ice giants. So that's a step forward from what I knew yesterday.
Yeah, well...
They're just ice queens. They're just really chilly personality-wise.
Yeah.
They might not be ice giants, but we don't know for sure. Science. That's the process.
Okay.
Yeah. Next link.
Next link.
This comes from Vice. I'm sticking with the monkey theme today. In the ancient Roman army, you weren't cool unless you had a pet monkey.
Wow.
Nice.
According to new archaeological evidence, the most elite Roman military soldiers stationed at the Egyptian port of Berneki found all sorts of innovative ways to show off their status, like carrying around pet monkeys imported from India that were latched to them like a chihuahua is to Paris Hilton. Okay, well, that shows the age of this author.
Right.
So a new archaeological study published in the Journal of Roman Archaeology documents the remains of about 36 macaques buried in an animal cemetery, revealing a level of affection that was almost parental. There is evidence of Barbary macaques amongst the archaeological findings at Roman sites around the world, but these Berneki monkeys were species native to southern India and the Indus Valley. It's an ancient example of the lengths people will go to rub their social status in your face. Nothing changes.
I mean, a status symbol is no good unless it's come from really far away and no one else can get one. That's inherent.
But what's nice is the ornate burials suggest that these animals were treated like members of the family. One early 1st century macaque was laid to rest with a piglet companion, 2 large shells, a woven basket, and a folded cloth that researchers say was reminiscent of a rag doll. They seem like they were the monkey's personal belongings.
Wow.
Another had a formal tomb marker similar to those used for humans.
Wow.
The researchers note that this kind of care fits with Roman thinkers like Pliny the Elder, who wrote that primates held a kind of semi-human status.
Wow.
All that info is more than enough to give you, the nice warm and fuzzies, but let's be real, because that feeling ends here. researchers found evidence of malnutrition amongst the monkeys.
Aw.
They suspect it wasn't due to neglect or some kind of abuse, but just resource management.
Yeah, their diet isn't available in a completely different climate.
No. Nor am I going to assume that these Roman military leaders were up and up on their monkey nutrition information.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, most of the soldiers probably had malnutrition as well.
Right. Yeah. So apparently the social payoff was worth it. In Wernicke, owning one of these animals was an immediate signifier of status, worldliness, and access to distant trade routes. To paraphrase the authors of the study, someone strolling around with an Indian macaque on a leash was the Roman equivalent of a modern, rizzed-out guy strolling around with intense BDE. Now, that is not my quote. That is a quote directly from the article.
Yeah, that reference is about as old as the Paris Hilton reference.
Correct.
I saw a monkey in an airport once. It was on a leash. It had a little diaper. It was going on a plane to Vegas. So, you know, people do it today.
Yeah, I think during the Halloween, one got out in a Spirit Halloween store recently, too. I saw a video of that.
It's like the greatest game of hide and seek. Like, I would love that.
The Spirit Halloween.
Exactly.
Next link.
Next link.
All right, this one is from sciencealert.com. It's called This Insanely Long Ribbon Worm Turns Out to Be the Oldest on Record.
No thanks.
Yeah, I will note this is my second title today with the word insane in it. So I don't know what that means, but... So it's a worm. It's owned by a scientist. He's a biologist named John Allen. And the adopted invertebrate is fondly called Basiodiscus the eldest. He is at least 26 years old, probably around 30. When fully stretched out, Basiodiscus, or B for short, is roughly a meter long, but his age was harder to pin down. They didn't know for a long time. What they did know was marine invertebrates are some of the longest lived animals on the planet, and deep sea tube worms can live for 300 years or more. And ribbon worms are particularly ubiquitous marine invertebrates, but we don't bring them to the surface a lot. We don't study them. We don't really test them. The oldest recorded one prior to this was just 3 years old. And again, possibly that's because we're just not picking up ribbon worms and testing their age. It doesn't seem like we've really attached a lot of importance to this subject. But Allen has actually had this worm for quite a long time. He's had it since 2005. He's kept it comfortable in a tank with lots of mud for meandering. He first got it from the University of North Carolina's biology department after renovations disrupted its home, is what they say. So I think probably they were just moving or doing some construction and someone's like, we got a worm in a tank here. We don't want it. Somebody take it. But he did, and he held on to it for a long time without ever really questioning how old it might be. But in 2024, a former student of Allen's convinced him to get B genetically tested. It turns out the pet worm belongs to a specific species called Basiodiscus panetti, which is only the second individual of its kind to be genetically barcoded, and it was in fact at least 26 years old. The ribbon worm also is surprisingly long. A ribbon worm picked up on a Scottish beach in 1864 is thought to be the world's longest animal ever found alive. Some records suggest that when that washed-up worm was fully stretched out, it measured roughly twice the length of a blue whale.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, this one much shorter. It's about the length of his arm. There's a photo of him dangling it. He likes to bring it out in class and show it to students.
No!
But in the meantime, B seems to be doing all right. He seems to have a pretty happy life with Allen. And if he's going to continue to live for 300 years, he's probably going to move again because Allen's not going to live that long.
It's like owning a parrot.
Right. He's got to have a provision in his will to pass along.
Pass on this
B.
Ugh, a blue whale. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but it's real skinny. It's not like a giant, like it's
Doesn't
really,
matter.
really, really thin and long.
All right,
But if you pile it all up in a big pile, it's still a
it
huge
looks like
pile
human
of
guts.
worm.
Ugh.
The worst spaghetti ever.
No.
Massive pile of worm. Gross.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for today. We're so glad you've joined us. Some of the articles we did not have time to get to today include Making Purple Gold, How Did the CIA Lose a Nuclear Device in the Himalayas, and String Theory Inspires a Brilliant, Baffling New Math Proof. So all that and more, plus everything we talked about today, can be found on damninteresting.com. If you like our podcast and want to support us, and if you want to get episodes a day early, you can do so at patreon.com/damninterestingweek. In the meantime, my name is Jennifer Lee Noonan.
I'm Angela Epley.
I'm Spurr-Chen.
I'm Bradley Calhoun.
And we hope you have a damn interesting week. Bye-bye.